With all the very latest this Saturday evening, it's the ITV News. Protests against the Iranian regime spill over into the streets of London. The flag is torn down from the embassy in support of those risking their lives in Iran. While from exile, the man who would be king spurs them on.
Our goal is no longer just to come to the streets. The goal is to be prepared to seize and hold the city centres.
Also tonight, thousands still without power as Storm Goretti fades, but new Met Office warnings take hold.
It is the biggest shock that the world's greatest cup competition has ever seen.
Macclesfield make history with the biggest giant killing the FA Cup's ever seen, and climbing into the record books, a British amputee summits the highest peaks on 7 continents.
This is ITV News with Yasmin Bodalbhai.
Good evening. Defiance against the Iranian authorities has spread around the world tonight, including onto the streets of London. Supporters of those risking their lives in Iran gathered at the Iranian embassy, where one climbed onto the balcony and tore down the flag. Just a couple of arrests here, but in Iran the crackdown is brutal. Dozens of people are reported to have been killed. Tonight, 2 weeks into the biggest protest there in almost 2 decades, came words of encouragement from abroad, from the exiled son of the former Shah and from the US President. America, Donald Trump said, stands ready to help. Ellie Pitt reports.
At the Iranian embassy in London, a protester removes the flag representing a regime no longer recognised by many of those it rules over. The same balcony made famous by the 1980 siege has once again become a stage watched by millions. This time, playing out is a symbolic act of solidarity with those on the streets of Tehran.
What we need over here is to be their voice and to be the sound of them, to amplify what is happening over there. To the people of my country,
they don't want the world to watch us. We want freedom. As you can see, everyone wants freedom for Iran.
If the crumbling economy sparked the protests in Iran, they quickly turned political. And every night for the past 2 weeks, demonstrators have called for an end to the Islamic leadership. But to fight back is to fear violence. An American-based human rights agency says 50 civilians have been killed. For some, it is President Trump's promise of retaliation if the supreme leader kills his own people that has boosted the crowd's confidence.
What has been different has been support or the lack of from the external powers, specifically Europe, UK and America. And with that, we are now seeing the support, at least in form of social media messages from President Trump, that has made people braver to come out.
In the capital, they hold up pictures of the man some want to return to Iran. His is a familiar face. He is the son of the last Shah, the monarch ousted from power during the 1979 revolution. From his home in exile, he has encouraged demonstrators to take hold of the country.
I ask all of you to come to the streets today and tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, with flags, national images and symbols, and take over public spaces. Our goal is no longer just to come to the streets. The goal is to be prepared to seize and hold the city centres.
To protest in Iran is to risk your life, but for thousands of people, the potential reward of that risk, regime change, has made it worth taking.
So, Ellie, Donald Trump has been talking again about backing the protesters.
He certainly has, Yasmin. Just before that, Iran's supreme leader has accused the protesters of ruining their own streets to make the president of another country happy. But it seems that President Trump has given the protesters a sense of protection, and that is invigorating these rallies. And I'm told from those I've spoken to today that that is making these protests and demonstrations feel different to those that have come before. Trump has reinforced that support for the protesters tonight, tweeting and posting on social media that Iran is looking at freedom, perhaps like never before. The USA stands ready to help, and it is that offer of help that is encouraging the protesters to continue their action against the regime, and we understand that they are back out on the streets of Iran tonight.
Okay, Ellie, for now, thank you. Well, Donald Trump's willingness to strike where he sees fit was displayed again today as the US military attacked multiple sites in Syria. The Pentagon says the large-scale strikes on sites linked to Islamic State are part of Operation Hawkeye Strike, President Trump's response to an IS attack in December that killed 3 Americans. And amidst it all, Mr. Trump hasn't taken his eye off Greenland. He gave another stark warning today, saying the US will intervene and take control of the island either the nice way or the more difficult way. The US president said it's vital for America to own the Danish territory to keep Russia and China out. Our Europe editor James Mates has more from Greenland.
There have been serious efforts in recent days to try and lower the temperature on this dispute over Greenland, with a meeting planned and talk now of buying Greenland from Denmark rather than potentially seizing it by military force. But then last night, in impromptu remarks, President Trump raised the temperature right back up again, making it perfectly clear how he intends this to play out.
We are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. So we're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way.
A meeting is planned for early next week between US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the Danish government. It's not clear whether the Greenlanders will be invited to that meeting, but all 5 of the political parties here produced an extraordinary statement today in which they said, we don't want to be Danish, we don't want to be American, we want to be Greenlanders. Whether anyone either in Copenhagen or Washington is listening to their views is not at all clear.
James Mates reporting from Greenland. We'll hear the Scottish Government has held a crisis meeting with the Met Office, Police Scotland and other organisations as the country braces for fresh weather warnings across the north of Britain tomorrow. They come as the cost of Storm Goretti is still being counted in the south. 1 fatality was confirmed today. Thousands remain without power and some without water, a situation that ministers described tonight as unacceptable. Rachel Younger reports.
On the Lizard Peninsula, there are so many trees down, they're still clearing up 2 days after Storm Goretti hit.
It's the worst one we've had, I think. My mother-in-law lives down here, and my wife's here, so we've got to clear this one, otherwise she can't get out.
For a time, it seemed despite the damage, no lives had been lost, but police called to this Cornish village after a tree fell onto a caravan on Thursday. Yesterday, found a man in his 50s had died inside. His family has been told. And for many others, life still feels a long way from getting back to normal. This bottle station set up after water supplies were hit in the Helston area.
It's the not knowing, because you're just kind of in limbo, you know? So
the bit they don't tell you is we've got a new boiler and it won't work unless you've got a certain amount of pressure. So we've had no heating either.
Many more are braving the cold without power. The National Grid says its engineers are working round the clock, but there are still thousands of properties without electricity in the southwest and the Midlands. There are more yellow warnings for wind, rain, snow and ice tomorrow, with the Met Office issuing a more severe warning for central Scotland.
We will start to see that rain turn to snow, particularly again across Scotland. We do have an amber warning in force across some parts of Scotland there for the risk of some further heavy snow. But as the milder air does try to filter in from the west, it will gradually transition back to rain, especially at lower levels. But that in turn could lead to some issues. As the rain hits freezing ground, we could see some ice in places.
And while a very scenic Scotland has more snow ahead, for the south at least, milder weather is coming. Rachel Younger, ITV News.
It'll go down as one of the greatest shocks in the long history of the FA Cup. Premier League side Crystal Palace, fairy tale winners of last season's competition, were sensationally knocked out today by non-league Macclesfield, a team 5 divisions and 117 league places below them. Chris Scudder was watching.
As FA Cup falls from grace go, this will take some beating. Palace's stars were outfought when the going got tough by the bravest of underdogs. Patched up in battle, Paul Dawson summed up the outsider's spirit. A goal he'll remember for the rest of his life. The Premier League elites were reduced to a rabble on an alien artificial pitch, humbled by a non-league club that went bust only 5 years ago. Isaac Buckley Ricketts made it 2-0. It all seemed hard to believe for Macclesfield owner Rob Smethurst. For the Palace fans and manager Oliver Glasner, it was worlds away from Wembley glory last May. They did pull a goal back in the dying moments, prompting minutes that felt like hours for the Macclesfield faithful. But it was too little, too late for the big boys. What a day for manager John Rooney, brother of Wayne, the day when David slayed Goliath. Palace will know it should never have happened, and it was left to England star Mark Gahey to apologise to the disbelieving, travelling Palace faithful.
Chris, we get giant killings in the FA Cup. It's not rare, but this is on a whole other level, isn't it?
Yeah, 154 years the FA Cup's been going, and 117 league places between the two clubs. It's never happened before. Palace's own fairy tale from last year turning into a bit of a nightmare. One footnote today, though, we should mention really a day of joy born out of tragedy for Macclesfield, the non-leaguers, because Ethan McLeod, one of their players, was killed in a car accident less than a month ago, and he was remembered today by the co-owner of the club, Rob Smethurst.
I think a real special moment for Ethan's parents as well, who were in the changing rooms there. You know, I wanted to make sure that they had their special moment because, you know, he helped us massively to get here, and, you know, I can't thank him and his family enough for being a part of this.
Yeah, fitting tribute from Macclesfield. Palace only themselves to blame really tonight because they rested some key players. But people saying the FA Cup, it's lost its magic. It hasn't. What a day to be remembered for forever, really.
What a day. Chris, thank you. Finally, it's an impossible dream for pretty much all of us, climbing the highest peaks on all 7 continents. But nothing, it seems, is impossible for British veteran Harry Budamagar. All the more amazing because the former Gurkha lost both legs to above the knee in Afghanistan. Today, in Antarctica, he became the first person without injury to successfully summit all 7 peaks. Anila Dami has his remarkable story.
He set his sights on the top of a mountain after losing both legs. But the world's highest wasn't enough for Harry Budamagar, who has now conquered the highest peaks across 7 continents and spoke to us from Antarctica after making history as the world's first double above-knee amputee to attempt and complete the challenge.
How does it feel?
It's a bit unreal, and die with no legs. You completed the 7-7, but it's done.
Done and with a smile, but after a difficult period. The 46-year-old served as second in command, the most senior Gurkha of his team of 14 in Afghanistan. He stood on an explosive and lost both legs.
I thought my life's completely gone. I tried to take my life. I turned into alcoholic, and about 2 years I spent a very difficult time. I didn't know what to do, but I picked up the sports and adventure, and that gave me confidence back.
Harry has been raising awareness and money for 5 veterans' charities, saying he chose 7 continents to spread the word globally.
If there's a message you would like to leave for people, what would it be?
Please don't give up. Keep it going, and one day it will turn into something better.
He now plans to head back to Kent to spend time with his family after creating a historic legacy. Anila Dami, ITV News.
Wow. That's it. The weather forecast is next. But from all of us here on the Weekend News team, thank you for watching. Good night.